Guess who's back? Back again. And Jude is back. Tell your friends. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Jude is back. Jude is back. Na 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 na.
Hi.
Jude's back. Hello. After a very long hiatus.
Yes.
4 years. I haven't seen you in 4 years.
I know.
I'm so sad. I have flown all the way to Hong Kong because that's where Jude moved and I missed her, and obviously we were just like, we can't hang out and not do the Indiana Jones series again.
We're gonna watch movies anyways.
Exactly. So we might as well. Yeah.
I also flew here before.
Years before.
Yes.
We both moved to different countries, and then Jude moved to a different country.
And yes.
And now I'm in that different country.
Yeah.
And now we are here to watch Indiana Jones with you.
Yes.
And that's a full circle moment. We were social distance.
It's been 4 years.
Yes!
Actually, I mean, COVID has ended a long time ago now, but
So we are gonna start, obviously. We finished with Indiana Jones the third, and we thought we were just gonna end it there because obviously the fourth one is the fourth one, and everyone hates the fourth one. But now there's a fifth one, so now we're like, okay, we're just gonna do the fourth one. I have to be honest though, I don't hate the fourth one.
I don't either.
It's actually like not too bad. I always say like you have to go into it thinking about it as like a 1950s sci-fi B movie.
Yeah.
And then it works really, really well.
It's Hollywood.
It's Hollywood.
Like, what do you expect?
And all the other Indiana Jones films are equally fantastical and strange. Like there's Nazis' faces melting in the first one, and then they're but aliens. Like, well, that's face melting. So pick your poison, really. We are doing Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Numero 4, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Get ready for some maybe controversial things, some opinions that you might hate, but we're gonna watch it. We're gonna have a great time. Let's do it. Unfortunately, no food today, and we're sorry about that. It's okay. But
Can't watch us eat.
no, but we are gonna watch Indiana Jones. And so, without further ado,
The Pentagon sent out revised.
surprise!
That was so sneaky of him.
Such sneak. How did they not notice the 4 men behind him with guns? They just, the camera angle, sure.
Hi, everyone behind me.
But everyone, you'd see them walking in the line.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Like any 1950s sci-fi, B, Hollywood movie, blockbuster film, whatever. We are in Area 51. Our favorite place to be, our childhood conspiracy dreams. Area 51 is a name for a highly classified US Air Force facility in southern Nevada. And most of us, especially in our generation, know it as the very secretive base where we don't know what goes on. So this conspiracy obviously is born from many places, but realistically what it is apparently just an open field training facility. And that's what they say it's for. Because it is highly classified, obviously there's a lot of security around it, and naturally this breeds conspiracy. But realistically, it's likely used for for weapon testing and aircraft testing, etc. The site was acquired in 1955 to test the Lockheed U-2 aircraft.
That one.
Flight testing.
Plane.
Conspiracy theories. Obviously, secret, aircrafts, weapons, aliens, duh, connection, plus equals alien. So naturally, that's kind of the reason why we have all these conspiracies coming out of it. So with the movie starting with Area 51, how could we not imagine that aliens, duh. So
Yeah.
that is a relationship there.
I realized that after, because like watching it the first time, no clue it was going to be about aliens, and then we should have known.
We should have known.
They were telling us right from the start.
It's always aliens.
Always.
There's no other explanation. So it was never declared a secret facility. But everything that goes on there obviously is top secret or just compartmentalized information. It's obviously confidential information. It's private, as things usually are with the government. It's fine. But naturally that has led to the whole conspiracy theory-esque aspect. What really goes on there, we don't know, except for...
Yeah, a lot of like war weapons testing that we don't know about. Secret things, which is maybe scarier than aliens anyway.
I think so.
Yeah.
They were digging in the dirt, looking for this stuff.
Oh my god.
Rude.
Don't.
Metal in this gunpowder should point the way.
But is gunpowder even that magnetic? Like, will it just...
I think it is.
Okay. That magnetic?
Well, I mean, it's like an alien. I mean, and there's nothing else in there that's magnetic.
Not a thing.
So why are all those lamps not like swinging into that direction? You know, why are all the other things that probably are metal, all those boxes, not getting pulled out?
This is inaccurate.
Only now?
Only
What about it?
when they were actually... The guns have metal on them.
No, they're made of plastic.
Right, they're fake guns. Oh, now the lights move?
I want a whip, and I want to use it in this way.
Do you want to just swing from
Yes.
of a storage container?
Yes.
That'd be fun.
Like, haven't you ever gotten a letter in the mail and been really careful about using a knife to open it because you're scared you're gonna open your letter? Or
Yeah,
cut
you
your
don't want to
letter?
rip it like that. Oh god. Oh no!
Boom! Artifacts
Oh
gone!
no! He is the most destructive archaeologist.
Yeah. See?
The Holy Grail, bro.
Pandora's box.
You
or
don't
whatever.
need that.
Yeah.
You can go. There's the Holy Grail that you wanted to put
Holy
in a
Grail.
museum.
Yeah!
Just take that one.
Three, 2, 1, 0.
Remember when you were a kid and your parents would tell you like not to like go too close to the fridge if you like got trapped and the door closed and you'd like never get out? No, this is just me. I was told like horror stories about kids getting trapped in the dryer and in the fridge. I don't know, my mom just gets very concerned about things because she hears horror stories and then thinks it's gonna happen to me.
I don't know. I actually did not have these things.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I'm just realizing. I'm like, no.
No, it was like definitely like don't ever do hide and seek in the fridge because it seals and then you won't be able to push yourself out and you're gonna suffocate and die.
Wait, were you trying to do hide and seek in the fridge?
No.
Okay.
I had a weird childhood. Either way, whenever I saw Indiana Jones getting into this fridge, I just kept thinking he's going to die. But he didn't.
This niche experience and memory.
Like, don't hide in the fridge, Indy.
I want to know if anyone else has had a fridge horror story because I did not.
Yeah, put it in the comments, fam. But anyways, obviously when he goes into this weird town, those things did exist. They were called doom towns. They were built in Nevada and they were called Nevada's nuclear family. Haha, hint hint, joke, pun there. So at least, you know, nuclear testing. You're a little conspiracy theorist. At least, you know, the nuclear testing actually took place in that place, so that's, you know, accurate in that sense. These doom towns did exist. One was built in 1952, the other one in 1955. This movie takes place in 1957, so that's a little bit of a stretch, but these towns did exist. They were created to be like the typical American family in the 50s. They had mannequins all dressed up in different types of clothing. They had buildings built from different types of materials, all within different parameters of the blast site to see how different things would fare within different, you know, distances from the blast site. And then they blasted them, which was, you know, interesting. So then they'd see like the mannequins getting like thrown out of bed. They were doing regular things like watching TV as families, delivering mail outside, like all this stuff. It's actually quite cool how they like planned it all out. And not with real people, so that's good. But yeah, like, see, obviously the houses at the beginning were like completely obliterated and then so on and so forth. They got less and less and less. But that's how they were doing all that testing in Nevada in the 1950s with these towns. You wouldn't survive in a fridge. So if you think there's a nuclear attack happening, don't hide in a fridge. They're not lead lined anymore either, so that won't help you. Even that wouldn't help you then. Just don't go in fridges.
No, how about we just don't use nuclear
That too.
bombs?
Don't do that. I don't think anyone watching has the power to do that, but if you do, don't do that.
If you've got it, it's Area 51.
Jude wants to come. She wants an invite.
I want to see what's going on.
Oh my god.
Don't you know it's dangerous to climb into a refrigerator? Those things can be death traps.
See? The death trap. It's a death trap.
That's so funny.
My mom just had some really outdated advice.
Irena Spelko, she was Stalin's fair-haired girl. His favorite scientist, if you can call psychic research science.
Archaeology science. It is.
It's a science.
So, fun fact. Apparently you can go onto the CIA website and find things.
Yeah. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
And you could just Google CIA documents.
Yeah, and see things. It's quite cool. Back in the 70s, the USSR allegedly had this parapsychology program where they were studying just psychic stuff. So alleged psychic phenomena. It's like telepathy, is it ESP?
Yeah.
Telekinesis?
Telekinesis,
Psychicness.
brain things, mind stuff.
So, Marvel, Sokovia, Wanda Maximoff and her brother Pietro in the facilities being tested for the, telepathy and all that kind of stuff. Literally that.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. According to the CIA.
Yes.
They said they...
On their website.
Yeah.
We're at the beginning of modern drainage practices, which we also see in Skabray on the west coast of Scotland. Skabray dates from 3100 BC and was continuously occupied for 600 years until it was apparently abandoned in 2500 BC. There's no clear evidence as to why its occupants decided to abandon a perfectly healthy environment. Yes.
So we always love an indie lecture because we learn so many things.
Random things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Inconsistent things.
Yeah.
But things. Skarbray is real.
We got a real site.
Woo. It is Europe's most complete Neolithic village, and it dates to 3180 BCE to 2500 BCE. I believe.
Yeah, around them.
And it is on the west coast of Orkney's largest island, I believe.
Called Mainland.
Called Mainland.
Yes.
And it's also been called Scottish Pompeii because of how complete and epic it is. But real site.
Yay!
A+.
Indie. It's a really cool site. There's like sewers and like furniture and toilets. It's wild.
It's a cool stuff.
It's really cool.
It's cool to have a toilet.
But I do have a video about it if you want to know more. It's not like a super in-depth video. If you want a super in-depth video, let me know. But it was in that archaeology advent I did. But it's a really cool site, so go check it out. But none of that's Skarbray on the back there.
That's okay.
That's cuneiform.
Shang. There's Chinese,
Oh, we said Skarbray
Chinese
where?
dynasties here.
Organized drainage? Wait.
We need to pause and look.
So what's in the back?
Yeah.
Corded ware? I think it was corded ware in the back.
Okay, first here,
I think he says
Phoenician settlements and commerce map on the left.
Yeah.
There's obviously some pieces, ceramic sherds and stuff, and I think that's supposed to be a big pot on the top.
Yeah.
Some kind of diagnostic
I
sherds.
think I saw that said Skarbray underneath it, so maybe that was like the pottery from it.
Okay.
Then we've got cuneiform.
Or like pictographs or something. Oh no, there is cuneiform.
There's some cuneiform. It's not all cuneiform.
Yeah,
though.
it's not.
It's a mix.
So there's some cuneiform on the bottom, on the third row,
Yeah.
third last row, and on the second from the top.
Yeah.
And third. Okay, so there's some throughout.
There's some, and then the
Then
rest
there's, like,
are just
pictograms.
pictograms.
And then
And then there's some bones. We see bones.
those look like big teeth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Animal. Okay. What else we got?
So there's some kind. There's Chinese dynasties or there periods there.
Yeah.
There's that.
The crowns of Egypt.
Yeah. Upper, lower, unified. Oh, the white, red
Yeah.
double.
And then
That's
the Narmer.
cool.
There's a bit of the Narmer. He drew like a giant Narmer palette.
So cool. So
and then
cute.
this lecture is all over the place.
Well, I feel like it's just stuff that's like up at all times, but if it's so funny if like they're actually just like just put archaeology stuff on there. It's archaeology 101. They learn about all these things
Let's
at
put
once. surely.
pictograms and Skarbray.
Yeah.
And what does that say on this? Orkney Island. Okay, yeah, the Orkney, Skarbray. So that side's correct.
Cool.
So maybe that was his like.
Oh, I didn't even see Orkney.
Yeah.
Okay.
This has professor writing.
You know what we should have done, which I completely forgot? We should have looked into the years of the dynasties. I'm assuming they got that right, because at least the crowns of Egypt they've got right, but...
So we are learning about world archaeology.
I'm trying to figure out the alphabet. I was just trying to see if there's like Phoenician elements to it, but I don't think there is.
There's like the cow, and I feel like some of those like cow ones, like the cattle-looking ones, and with the triangular things, like they look so familiar.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure it out because like they did decently for everything else. I feel like we're just missing something. We'll have to figure this out.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, hold on. I mean, I know it's not Akkadian. You know what? It's great to have phones. Just
Right?
do this on the spot.
The aliens.
Now, I really need to know what they meant by the organized drainage. Are they talking about Orkney? Maybe.
Yes, it does. Yes, it is. Scarborough had organized drainage, so I guess he's just finding space on the board.
Open up Michelson. Review chapter 4 when I come back. We'll discuss the difference between migration and exodus.
Migration and
Exodus. Migration versus Exodus. Migration, you choose to move. Exodus, you're forced to move.
And yeah. But like, how does that?
Discuss.
No, I'm just. How does it translate from like this week? We just talked for 2 seconds about Scarborough, and then next time we're just going to talk about Exodus and migration.
He was talking about why they abandoned such a good site. That's why he brought that up.
Okay. Does that say
Paleolithic.
Paleolithic?
Old Stone Age.
Old Stone Age. Is that grooved where?
But it says grove. Yeah, but it says groved.
Oh.
But I think you're right. Where? And the something drainage. Something.
Is that the inside of a Scarborough house?
Which we also see something on the something end. Maybe.
Akator? He said that.
Yeah.
You're sure?
That's what he said. He said Akator. What is it?
It's a mythical lost city in the Amazon. Conquistadors called it El Dorado. Supposedly the Uga tribe were chosen by the gods 7,000 years ago to build a giant city out of solid gold. It had aqueducts and paved roads and technology that wouldn't be seen again for 5,000 years. Francisco de Orellana disappeared into the Amazon looking for it in 1546. I almost died of typhus looking for it myself.
Okay, sir. Calm down. What is your area of specialty? Where you're talking about Scarborough, we're doing China. Okay, so Akator. This one's going to be a little bit of a complicated one to talk about because it's technically not completely made up for the movie. It took its name from another mythical city called Akakor, and I can understand why they added a T instead of that second K. It's very hard to pronounce, but it was the legend of Akakor is apparently there's this like mythical underground city somewhere between Brazil, Bolivia, and Peru. So the city was first described by a German writer called Karl Brugger in his book called The Chronicle of Akakor that came out in the 1970s. Brugger only actually got one source for this mythical ancient city, and he was a self-proclaimed Brazilian native chief called Tatunkanara, and he claimed he was the head of the tribe of the Uga Mongalala, who are also described in this movie. The Uga people is what Indiana Jones says, and none of it was real. That's the gist of the story. According to Nara, the Uga people were chosen by the gods to be the Earth's record keepers after the year 0, which was like the year 10,400 and something BCE. That was year 0 for when the gods left the Earth. That was his story. That's in the book. I think it's just fascinating. This guy made this whole thing up, and it became a book. He also claimed that the tribe was like given these special stones that you could use to see anywhere in Earth and also to like record planetary events. 4 of the gods were also said to have like remained in the temple of this underground city, mummified as like stone columns, which looks also like that tomb that they had with the Spanish conquistadors in the movie. So I think someone just read this book and they were like, yeah, this is the movie, but with aliens and crystal skulls. And also apparently these humans had like 6 fingers. Like they looked creepy. The gods were like humanoid but different. So it makes like this alien thing a thing. So I see you writers for Indiana Jones. I know where you got your source material. So it turns out Tutunkanara was not a Brazilian in any case. He was a German man named Hans Gunther Hauck, and he just made up the whole story. Even when the book actually, when it was finished, like when it was published, he even started doing tours to be like, come to Akakor, I want to take you to Akakor. People died, like mysteriously they died. And he hasn't been like brought to justice for this. So it's a whole thing, and I'm now slightly obsessed with it. So if you want a full video on like a lost city that wasn't, I will buy the book, I will read the book, because I'm so fascinated by this. The Uga tribe itself is also fictitious, so the people that Indiana Jones is talking about is also fictitious, so we don't have to, they didn't exist, don't look them up. What the writers of Indiana Jones have done now as well is they've conflated Akakor or Akator with El Dorado to make it seem more like, I guess, palatable to the public. Like, oh, El Dorado, yeah, I know that
Road to El Dorado.
Road to El Dorado. El Dorado. Such a good movie. That's how they brought in Francisco Orellana instead of like the 4 gods that were there, even though there's like the gods in the other temple with the crystal skulls. And Orellana's role in El Dorado was that, like the El Dorado story in general, was that he was actually sent down what is now known the Amazon River, which he apparently discovered, quote unquote. And it was named after a tribe of female warriors that attacked him, which is quite great. So good for them. But that was his sort of role. He was like sent on a mission to go down the river to find this faraway land that local people had spoken about when the Spanish conquistadors had kind of come in already. And it was apparently a land of gold and cinnamon and all these riches. And of course the Spanish want all the spices and all of the gold, and so he went all the way down, didn't find any gold or cinnamon, but he did discover a river.
Nice.
Yes.
Cool river.
That's Orellana's role, and they just snuck whatever they could.
The Arcs and I were obsessed with the Mitchell Hedges skull in college. How do you know about it?
Are you kidding? That's all he talked about. He talked about that thing till the cows come home.
There are a number of crystal skulls in the world. I saw one in the British Museum. Interesting craftsmanship.
Of all the crystal skulls that have ever come to be, other than the vodka, Mitchell Hedges' skull is the second most famous. Okay.
I forgot about the skull vodka. We should have got that for the movie.
I know, but it's really overpriced.
It's not worth it.
Mitchell Hedges is said to found it in Central America somewhere in the 1930s, but that's obviously still up for debate because his adopted daughter said that they found it somewhere else. Generally, they're found in the region. Turns out, nothing is true.
It's all a lie.
It's a modern carving.
Yeah. Didn't come from Mexico or Belize or wherever they said it was. Anna, his daughter, didn't dig it up under a temple. It's modern. Yeah. So Mitchell Hedges first described it. He said it was from like 3,600 years ago, this skull, and it was carved by 5 generations of like stone polishers. Like he had this huge fantastical thing. Clearly it wasn't. It was made very recently actually, and in Germany it looks like it was made in Germany by like modern drilling tools. Like we've done scientific research on the Mitchell Hedges skull with using like SEM, like scanning electron microscopes and everything, and they were made by like mechanical drills, we can tell. So it's all fake. The one in the British Museum is fake, and it's actually really eerily close to the one in the British Museum. So they think that because that one kind of showed up very soon after the one in the British Museum, so they think that that one was used as the model, which is what that looks like. There's a bunch of crystal skulls all around the world. There's one in the Smithsonian, and they have all currently proven to have never been found in context anywhere, so they're probably all fake. But yeah, people think they all have magical powers, which is the inspiration for the movie.
So if anybody can find the skull, it's you. Like you're some type of, like a grave robber or something.
I'm a tenured professor of archaeology.
No, I'm a tenured professor of archaeology. How many times have you been called a grave robber?
How many tenured professors are on having a one pound? It's a very poor structural integrity for like a bronze statue.
Just the head.
Yeah.
Super glued on.
I just had a question on Hargrove's normative culture model.
Forget Hargrove. Read Ver Gordon Child on diffusionism. He spent most of his life in the field.
Want to be a good archaeologist? You gotta get out of the library!
But in the last movie, you said that 70% of archaeology was done in the library.
Make up your mind. Indiana Jones talking about their golden child.
When he said "Dear Garden Child," something awoke in me.
Has it not been awakened before?
Sorry. It's true. It's true.
V. Gordon Child, big name in archaeology.
Huge.
If you study archaeology, I guess formally at a tertiary level, you will hear about Gordon Child at one point. He's a really big name in archaeological theory. He was an Australian archaeologist. He wrote like 26 books or so.
A lot of books. He
Wrote
was
a lot of
like
books.
Prehistoric. He was a prehistoric European archaeologist.
Yeah.
He coined the term Neolithic Revolution, which is pretty cool.
Which is something we probably all know about.
Yeah. If you've ever taken like an archaeological theory class, which most of us have to, the dreaded theory class.
I loved the theory. Oh, I did. But he coined, not coined the term, he introduced culture historical theory, archaeological theory, which basically is when you define a culture based off its material
records.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Archaeology Theory 101, everyone.
Not
for you guys.
Executing it well.
No, it's a very difficult thing to teach. I do tip my hat to the people who do it. Yeah, it's just basing it off of their material culture artifacts. Yeah, that's it really.
Yeah.
That's the vibe. It's archaeological theory has gone through like so many different stages. And he introduced that it was more like a European mainland thing, and he brought it over to the UK. And so that was his like big contribution to archaeological theory in the UK.
It sounds really simple, but all of the theories that this stuff currently is based off of came from these original thoughts, as simple as they seem. He also oversaw the excavations at Skara Brae, and connections made.
Yeah.
And he was a supporter of Marxist archaeology, and he also died in the same year that the movie was set in, which was 1957. A lot of his theories, and obviously, I mean, we've gone a long way since the 50s and prior, so a lot of his stuff has been discredited to date, but he's still a foundational name. Yeah, let's put it that way. Foundational theory in archaeology. So still somebody worth knowing about.
People still source him. I sourced him in my dissertation. People still refer back to his works. Like, he's very well respected, and it's really cool to see that. There's a lot of archaeology in this movie. For what it is, there's like some legit stuff.
For being unpopular.
Yeah. They talk about Gordon Child. Like, already this movie is like... So in this scene, obviously, when he mentions Vera Gordon Child, he says, check out his work on diffusionism, which is another archaeological theory. Like, it's really like academic, this movie. I'm really into it.
Really goes into the theory.
Yeah.
But diffusionism, why this key point, is basically the theory that a culture, I guess, trickles down into another culture, and rather than a culture developing itself independently and ideas and all that stuff that happen independently, they are essentially passed down.
Think
transferred.
Like fire boom moving from one place to another place, or pottery, like all this technology kind of just diffuses outward.
So why this is relevant to Gordon Child is that he kind of spoke against this to some degree, just saying it is possible for a culture to pick up stuff or create stuff independently. Not everything has to be brought from somewhere else. This is a big thing in a lot of places in the world. One such example is in South Africa, where you have the San and Khoi groups that were kind of isolated geographically because of Cape Fold Mountains, and the whole theory, all these models, diffusionism, etc., how they picked certain stuff up like herding. There's a lot of conversation about whether it was brought down or whether it was created independently, etc., etc. So it is still a relevant conversation today.
It's just the natural thing of human progression, like pyramids.
Yeah. Exactly, that's what I was going to say.
And very quickly, while we are on this topic of archaeological theory, the student first asks about the normative culture model, and that is actually like the core idea of something called culture historical archaeology. it's some weird, like, there's so much archaeological theory and these like philosophies because we're still a new profession, so people are still thinking about like the best way to think about things and to learn about the past. And so ideas are changing all the time, obviously, with the more that we learn and the more that we know that we don't know, and changing views in society and all that stuff. So I'm not going to get too into it because it is a headache. Basically, this culture model is like, at its core, it's a set standard of ideas as to what defines culture, which is a little bit complicated because obviously not every culture is going to have X, Y, Z, and Q to create a culture, and so some places don't fall into it and it gets all complicated that way, so that's why we don't really use it anymore. So for example, like there's certain sets of norms within a culture, like bodies, like dead people should be buried outside of the city limits in a cemetery. So that sort of defines culture. That's the norm that you should expect to find within an archaeological site. So what it is that like in archaeology, we assume that these norms will be represented within the archaeological record. So we need to be able to see it in the material culture in order for it to be like checked off. And then we're like, yeah, we just assume that all these things are going to be there. And when you assume, what happens? You know. So of course, like not all traits are needed for one site to be similar to another culture site. Like just because one site of a similar, that looks like it's from the same culture, is missing one thing, doesn't mean it's not from the same culture. So it's one of those really complicated things where you've kind of set these assumptions and this culture needs to have this, and this in order to be defined as this culture. Whereas there's always outliers. Think about in your own culture and how some people follow certain rules and some people don't, but they still adhere to the main tenets of your culture or take bits that are like important to them. So we need to be very mindful of that when you're looking at other cultures from around the world, especially in ancient cultures.
Culture is fluid.
It is fluid, and it changes throughout time.
Of course.
So
I'm not the same person, let alone culture's the same.
No, exactly. Like, look how much our culture has changed
between our parents.
In the last 10 years. It's absolutely wild. So
COVID, look at how much it's changed culture. And now I talk to people on Skype, but Zoom.
Yeah. So
never imagine that.
You can never assume. Don't assume. Just don't assume.
That's the biggest flaw, I feel like, in archaeological theory. At the end of the day,
yeah,
over-assumption is just going to damage everything.
Yeah.
Like everything that you're thinking about it.
Just always be open to challenging your own biases and your own assumptions. Be curious, friends.
Yeah.
Just as I thought. Koyoma.
What's that?
It's an extinct Latin American language. Pre-Columbian syllabic base. See, diagonal stresses on the ideograms, definitely Kioma.
You speak it?
Nobody speaks it. Hasn't been heard aloud in 3,000 years. Might be able to read a bit, though, if I walk it through Mayan first.
So he's using Mayan script to read a different one.
A different language.
For places, for Peru. Okay, so very quickly, because we're not linguists, so not experts on these things and languages, but the Koyama language that Indiana Jones is talking about, saying it hasn't been spoken for over 3,000 years, that's false. It actually is a real language. It's now extinct. It went extinct in the 20th century, not 3,000 years ago, and it doesn't actually seem to have any pre-Columbian written form. So that wouldn't have existed either. But they do think that it is related to the Witatoan language family, which is in Peru, Colombia area. So the general area is correct, like in where they were in South America, even though they were talking about Mesoamericans half the time. So like they did, have a correct language. They just didn't get the right one that was used 3,000 years ago.
Follow the lines in the earth only gods can read, which lead to Oriana's cradle, guarded by the living dead. He's talking about the Nazca lines.
What are those?
Hold on here. Geoglyphs. Giant, ancient drawings carved into the desert floor in Peru. From the ground, they don't look like anything. But from the sky, only the gods can read them, because only gods live up there.
Oh, the Nazca lines. I do love the Nazca lines. I need to learn more about the Nazca lines, to be honest.
So many things to learn.
I do have to point out, like, we're in such a weird whirlwind with this whole video. Like, we're doing the Nazca lines. They're really trying to bring in everything they can about South American and Mesoamerican archaeology into one.
They thought that this was going to be the end. They didn't know Harrison was going to be whatever age he is now, be like, I'm ready for another one.
Exactly.
They thought this would be the last. It was like, we got to get it all in.
The last
whole
hurrah.
world has to be in this movie, not the movie, but in this whole franchise.
They did pretty good. They tried their best. The Nazca lines are a group of geoglyphs, so glyphs written in the earth. On the floor of the desert in the Nazca Desert in southern Peru, and they were made by people. They're made by people by like kind of removing that top layer of the soil to expose the other colored layer of soil. So they take off the pebbles and all of that and expose this and make, some of them were just straight lines, very straight, amazingly straight lines. Some actually create images. There's so many really amazing designs that they've made that you can see from the air, which has also created some conspiracy theories, but they preserved so well because it's a very dry, arid, windless place. So that's why they look like they were made yesterday, and they're absolutely stunning. They were made between 500 BCE and 500 CE, so they were made for like a really long time. And there's actually like a lot of them. In the recent years, over 80 to 100 have been found, like new ones have been found, and we're only going to keep finding more because technology is getting better and better. Though, as of 2012, it has been reported that they are under threat because of people moving into the area, and they're deteriorating a lot more quicker than they should be. So just don't do that.
This is not the Mitchell Hedges skull. Look at the elongated cranium. And the same word in different languages over again. Retour. In different languages over again. Retour.
Do you think this is the reason we have ancient alien theories? When did ancient alien conspiracy start?
I think I looked this up. This movie came out a year before Ancient Aliens aired. No, Indy, no, did you do this?
Is this why we have ancient alien conspiracies?
Stop.
If that is...
We don't know how long it was in production.
Where is that? How can you tell?
He really just, all of a sudden, just knew exactly where he was going.
It's so funny.
Just by looking at a site map?
Not even a site map, a floor.
A floor plan.
You're a teacher?
Part-time.
You said you were a full tenured professor. That's not a part-time job.
Their skulls. Look at their skulls, man.
Like the drawings in Oxley's cell. Means we're getting closer.
That's crazy. Why is it like that?
Nazca Indians used to bind their infants' heads with rope, elongate the skull like that.
Question for you. Did people bind heads?
Depends on where you are.
Yes. In the Americas, Maya, Inca, Proto-Nazca, some groups in North America, they did practice the custom. So it's true.
Again, more ancient tech that we'd be like, actually, I want to study this and not the fancy gold thing.
He's just so like reckless, like
yeah. He doesn't want to get out of it. God.
I'm gonna pick and choose.
He doesn't even know what's gonna like. He's going so deep.
He also watched the what's her face at the beginning and was just like, and now he's like, nah, I gotta do it.
Oh my god, that mummy opening. It hurt a little bit. It's very savage. Like, yeah, just ripping it right down from the middle, and don't do that. Don't do that. But having him being that perfectly preserved, a little bit wild, and then deteriorating into dust immediately, again, a little bit wild. But this whole scene did remind me of when they found Lady Di, who was a Western Han noblewoman. When they found her in her tomb, she was so well preserved that like they could move her limbs. She was like pretty much elastic, and she was preserved in this like very strange liquid that was kind of acidic, and it like preserved her body, and obviously everything's pretty much airtight down there as well. So it was a very, very good preservation environment for her. And of course, obviously, they were able to do an autopsy of Lady Di. I'm gonna do a video about it. Obviously, once you expose anything to a new environment, it will start degrading at a much quicker pace because it's a different humidity, different temperature, different, you know, pollutants in the air, all of that stuff will kind of contribute to further deterioration from a conservation standpoint. So pretty much no matter what you do, it's never going to be what it was like once you pull them out of the ground.
Wow, they really couldn't figure that out. They just like opened the body and didn't actually ransack. They're like, I don't think it's here. We also won't open the other 7 bodies.
Right?
He put it back where he found it. Why?
Why? Why might that be? Why don't we take it and find out?
Why would we do that?
Why? Let's talk about how all these people did this thing.
Yeah.
And then brought it back, and let's take it.
Saucermen from Mars.
The legends about Akator are all true. Early men could not have conceived it, much less built it. It was a city of supreme beings with technologies and paranormal abilities.
I guess this is why we don't like this one, because it's just the most conspiracy-esque one.
Yeah.
The skull was stolen from Akator in the 15th century. Whoever returns
it to the city temple will gain control over its powers. I've heard that bedtime story before.
It's a well-known story about Akator,
don't you know?
And the crystal skull.
If you bring back the skull, you will get power. Those teeth. Let's judge them. Well, with those teeth, they would need to be eating a similar diet to ours. Why would they need those teeth if they're not eating, you know, plants and meat for shearing?
Maybe they evolved here.
They even have canine teeth, so they're omnivores like us.
What is it, quicksand?
I'm calm.
No, it's a dry sand pit.
I'm sinking,
Quicksand
but I'm
is a
calm.
mix of sand, mud, and water, and depending on the viscosity, it's not as dangerous as people
Oh, for
sometimes
Pete's sake,
think.
Jones, we're not in school!
Were you irrationally concerned with quicksand in your future as a child?
100%. I thought I'd be dealing with quicksand
Often.
so much. Very
Me
often.
too.
Or even whatever this is. You call it a dry sand pit, whatever. Like, were you always like prepping yourself?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Even to this day, it's just, I feel like it's just gonna be the end of me. Somewhere, somehow.
Are you going to wiggle?
Oh, I have looked it up. I need to have a walking stick. Put it down. I need to try to get myself out. Not pull. Gradually shift. Don't you know?
Don't. Now I do.
Siafu, what? Big damn ants, go!
Siafu.
Siafu.
Drivers ants, safari ants. Not actually found in that region. They're usually found in Central and East Africa, going into Southern Africa and tropical Asia. So
They shouldn't be in that part of the world.
yeah, not the most accurate general
There's a variant that is found in the Americas, but it's not the ones that they're describing.
in the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know much about ants, except Ant-Man. Marvel!
This whole movie just comes back to Marvel. She just left me.
I don't know.
I would have a skull just for that purpose.
Yeah, me too. I mean, maybe that's the only reason why they had the skulls in the end. Like, survival was pretty simple back in the day.
Ochre. Iron oxide. Charcoal.
How old is this?
4,000 or 5,000 years. Old as the pyramids.
Okay, Indy, like, slow your roll about this whole pigments older than the pyramids crap. Like, I'm sorry. I can't. You can't just, like, look at a picture and then, like, touch it. First of all, don't touch it. And then be like, there's pigments older than the pyramids on here. You don't know that from looking at them. And yes, we can tell, like, when certain pigments were invented. For example, like, the first blue in ancient Egypt came out during the 4th dynasty, which is indeed when the pyramids were built. But it is not older than the pyramids. It might have been, like, a few years older. But we don't know.
The main thing to draw from here is you can't just look at a painting and be like, that paint, no, it's 500 years old.
Yeah. You can be like, oh, that they didn't start using that color until this period, so it can't be older than this. But even then, you still need to know a lot about that and do some testing.
And in general, I mean, because of the time period in the 50s, archaeology is still early days. So all the things that we might even know now, but maybe seeing a pigment and being like, okay, well, considering the connection to here and to here to here and whatever, I can make an educated guess that this might be originating from here, which would be this date.
Yeah.
It's 1950s. Archaeology is just starting.
They're
can't
just assuming.
Yeah, you can't, like, of the time, you wouldn't be able to do that because you wouldn't have had the information, because these excavations are still ongoing or starting or haven't even started yet.
There's no back catalog of all this knowledge that we can now refer to. If we are talking about the regions specifically, not even really specifically, but where they're, because they keep mixing up this Meso and South American stuff. The blue created by the Mayans didn't come out until the first millennium AD, which is much later than the pyramids. So any blue that he is seeing, that Indiana Jones is seeing in South America, is definitely not older than the pyramids. Just gonna put that up there. There was blue. I saw blue on those murals. So that's how I'm dating it with my knowledge.
Yeah.
And they were different materials completely. Like the blue from the Maya were made from different materials than the ones from Egypt because they had different materials. And that's how that works.
Fusionism not happening there.
Nope. Theory lessons all around today.
Archaeology theory. It's the core of everything we know.
More worshippers. Stop touching it. They're just like rubbing their wet hands all over it.
I would probably rub off so easy.
Someone came and taught the yoga. Farming. Irrigation.
This is such a hotbed of conspiracy. Like, I don't think it clicked before how bad it actually is.
It's
like,
so bad. It feels very like Mayan, all of it, and they're in the Amazon.
Yeah.
It doesn't...
doesn't...
They were just like, no, we don't like anything the Inca did. We can't find anything else.
Yeah, like, why? I don't... It's, especially because it's just like, you're already making stuff up. Like, why make it that inconsistent?
Yeah.
It's not like you're focusing on accuracy anyways.
Clearly not.
Ancient aliens.
Ancient aliens.
I can't talk about ancient aliens because I don't understand how it's even a subject to begin with.
Yeah.
It is the epitome of people talking about something that they don't understand. Like, it's just...
It's discrediting the cultures. They were like, no, people from there couldn't have built such great things.
Imagine in the future, let's say, I don't know who you are. Let's say you create something great and big or whatever. You're an artist. I don't know. Something. And then people, like, literally going up to you and they're just like, you didn't make that. You did not make that. And I know we're not approaching somebody specifically because, obviously... whatever, but like, it's just, I just find it so insulting.
So insulting.
Like, it's just like, and people talk about it seriously, and they like claim to not be, you know, they claim whatever they want to claim, and it is so like disrespectful, and people don't actually see it as being insulting. It's insane.
And they're just totally disregarding just like the human ingenuity and spirit that like got us places like the moon. People, diffusionism and things like it doesn't have to have someone coming in out of nowhere and going, boom, now you know how to do this.
But also, then you have to think about it, how did the original person know how to do it too? Like, it's like,
happy accidents, just people trying stuff out, being
and how do we
stupid
discover
and
anything? Like, why do you not get smallpox now?
Because someone dared to dream.
Yes, and yes, something like that.
Look at the iPhone. Like no one ever like would think if someone 100 years ago saw the iPhone, they'd be like, "You didn't make that."
Yeah.
That's alien power.
Actually, yeah, that is exactly what would happen if we went back in time.
Like, that's magic in someone's hands right there. Like, oh no person could have made that.
Yeah. But even just like Bluetooth, for example, we all use Bluetooth. We all have, but like we don't. Honestly. We don't understand how it works. No, we don't and it's
someone just came up with it and was like, I don't know what this is, but we can recreate it.
Yeah, and it's just like, and obviously it's like that. Like, if I was put into the past and they're just like, you know, I go whatever, and they're just like, tell me about nuclear bombs, and I'd be like, they, you know, you go and they go, when things happen. I couldn't even explain it to them. And so it's just like, just because you can't explain, because you wouldn't be able to explain Bluetooth to someone in 1200 BCE, just because you can't do that, does not mean that it was aliens. Because you can't explain Bluetooth either.
If someone wants to explain Bluetooth to Jude,
I don't
please put it in the
understand
comments.
Bluetooth.
Are you okay? Do you really want to know about Bluetooth?
Yes.
Okay, we'll find a video.
I'll find another area.
Okay.
There are artifacts from every era of early history. Macedonian, Sumerian,
This place is the motherlode.
Etruscan, Babylonian,
There isn't a museum in the world that won't sell its soul for this lot.
early Egyptian,
Dozens of museums. Hundreds of them, Jonesy.
collectors. They were archaeologists.
Also, with this whole, like, they were collectors, and there's Etruscan things and Macedonian things, as Indy says. Like, how long were these people actually there? Because he's saying these paintings are older than the pyramids, but then they have Etruscan artifacts. Like, were they just hanging out in, like, their little, like, thing forever, and then just collecting and just, like, zapping back in? Okay.
Marvels. It's like Eternals. I'm telling you. It's all the same.
This is everyone now from Disney. When Disney bought Indiana Jones or Lucasfilm, they went the next 8 Marvel movies, all from this one film right there. That content repurposing, that is the best content repurposing I've seen in a while.
The most specific one too. It came to me.
I don't watch enough Marvel to know this.
I'm not academic today.
Oh, that's great. It's fine.
Like, at least Mac was trying to be careful. He's just like, let's just...
Indy, you should know better.
Lovely.
It's a lot of dead people. There's been a lot of people who have actually gotten this far. Are they not acknowledging the fact that this has seemed to be a sealed up memory, but then there's these, like, suits of armor, and there's all these people, like, people have gone all the way to this point. Yeah. And they've also managed to reset the obelisks.
The people, they were like, no, but like, how did
they failed? Like, get the sand, boys!
Hit the reset button and
then it all goes back down.
And then the Ooga people have to come with the sand and pour it back in. Like, God.
They screwed it up again.
They got it.
How many times? That's why they actually wanted to kill them, because they were like, we're not doing this sand thing again.
We just filled it from the last time.
So, skeleton-wise, let's just comment on the fact they've got very human features, which is fine.
Yeah.
But what is going on with their ribs?
Jude recently got her PhD by everyone, by the way. She's a doctor now, so she's the authority on these skulls.
I have nothing really to add because they're not human, they're aliens. That is my expertise.
They look like Swiss cheese.
Yes, like Swiss, something like
very weird.
Inconsistent holes, but I'm just trying to like understand the
mechanics.
Because presumably this would imply that they have all human organs as well.
Oh.
You know, because that's what you'd be protecting. That's why you have a torso and a rib cage. But it's just like, you know, the ribs are like they are part connected so they can move when you breathe. Like that looks pretty stiff, you know what I mean?
Mayan. He's speaking Mayan.
I just can't.
How do you understand?
Also, but why are you speaking Mayan in the Amazon? Oh my God, it was a secret spaceship all along.
Of course it was.
What?
What are they, spacemen? Interdimensional beings, in point of fact.
Where did they go? Space?
Not into space. Into the space between spaces.
They did really stay away from this alien thing, but they kind of made them aliens.
That is an alien.
An interdimensional being?
That is an alien.
Okay.
Interdimension. Multiple dimensions, interones, traveler, alien. I just don't want to say the word alien.
They really don't. Maybe they knew Ancient Aliens was coming out, and they're like, we don't want to.
Yeah, we don't want to be associated with that.
No,
we're completely our own thing.
We see your aliens, we raise you.
Yeah, we are historically accurate alien film. Look, we've made their ribs this way. People would be like all of the geologists and who are water specialists, geographers, everyone would now know about this new lake and be like, where on earth did this come from?
Marvelous. Perfect. Make the letters bigger. Much bigger.
I wonder what his publications are like.
I swear this happened.
I am a tenured professor of archaeology.
Dr. Jones, we can't accept this. You have no concrete evidence, but I swear.
I saw it with my own eyes.
Why did you give him the script? We were worried he was gonna do something if we didn't give him the job. He says things with us and he can really communicate to the students. He has good understanding.
He has great recall. He speaks a bunch of languages.
Yeah. Nice try, Shia, but you never came back, so.
There can only be one. All right, we did it. We watched the fourth Indiana Jones. It took us only 4 years to get to this point.
Yeah.
4 years for the fourth movie.
That's what I was gonna say.
Aww.
Yeah. See? Minds alike.
Yeah.
We are one.
Crystal skull. Sorry. Exactly. Thank you so much for watching our Jude's return to the small screen or wherever you're watching this. It's very exciting. And I hope maybe now you have some more context. Maybe you enjoy the fourth one a little bit more, because everyone just writes it off. Like, just go back into it with an open mind. And now you have all this fun knowledge about archaeological theory.
Yeah.
And now we know Jude is a big Marvel fan. Yeah, things we've learned. If you like that video, go ahead and smash that like button down below. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more of Jude coming back, which is amazing.
Might be 4 years from now.
But you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
That's the thing.
Big thank you to all of my patrons over on Patreon. If you like the channel, you want to help support it so I can keep making videos like this, head on over to the link in the description. Here's all my socials, and as always, stay dirty, my friends.